Welcome to the How to Trade Like a Pro podcast. I'm Wieland Arlt, and in this episode I welcome Markus Ruhnau. Markus Ruhnau is an option trader and founder of the Trade Scanner. With Markus I'm talking about, of course, option trading and how to scan the world's markets for the best setups. Before we start, please take a closer look at the show notes for the risk disclaimer, and now enjoy this episode. I'm here together with Markus Ruhnau. Markus Ruhnau is a close friend of mine from Hamburg, Germany. And it's not just we're friends, we're also cooperation partners. And when it comes to corporations, I love to work with professionals who really know what is it about to trade. And Markus is an options trader. He has developed a program which is called Trade Scanner, where you can scan the world's markets for the best trades you want to do. And therefore, I'm really happy to have you here in my show, Markus. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me on board here on this podcast.
It's my pleasure. And as we know each other for quite a time, and we talk a lot about trading and also about software development and what makes life easier for traders to find trades. So what is your experience in finding the best trades, and what does it mean, especially for you as an options trader?
Yeah, normally you go nuts when you really try to find good trading opportunities in options. Just to give you some numbers, there are like 8,500 stocks in the US where you can make options or write options. And then of this, like an Apple has 5,500 option chains. So you're at around about 1.2 million option chains each day to search for. And I was like, oh my God, how can I ever know which one is the best to choose? And therefore, this was really a problem for me, because many people just think, okay, I have now this list of a few titles, and they say, okay, I can take this strategy or this, like an Apple, what could I do? But this, I thought, is not the right approach. Perhaps we could do it better, because there's so much more to think about. And why not choosing some strategies which work?
Right.
Yeah. And therefore, just to give you an idea what I thought, or how the perfect way could be, because I read lots of articles, lots of journals and whatever on how to trade options best. And in the American market, you don't even find someone who really looks on the charts. So as a technical analyst or whatever, I'm very much into the markets and how they perform and why not using it for the options as well. So, so personally, I scan like where are the best entries, because I come from stocks markets and directional trading, and it makes total sense when you do the same thing really with the options. So right. If you see, like I developed my turning point, which I like really much, and this goes really very straight after a correction was and should go up. And for instance, if you want to sell a put, I only sell. So you could buy a call, of course, the same way. But if you sell a put and the market goes just up, you gain the money right away in a few days, and where you normally have to wait nearly until expiration. Just makes sense. And after just searching the strategy, or like my turning point, I then scan where are good option chains, and many people have like scanners for just searching for stocks. But if it comes to option chain scanning, it's a big problem. And if you go to your broker, like, you have a signal here and 80% is nuts. You can forget about it because the options are not fine. And then it takes so much time to go through, and you get frustrated, and then you come back to a very small list. But this is not the best thing. So my scanner, my trade scanner, does exactly what I told you all at once. So you click on the button and say, okay, I want cash secured puts, and you get the best choices there are.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, that's something when you talk about options, when you think about trading options, first of all, they appear to be quite complicated. You know, you have all the alpha, beta, theta, whatever, gamma, delta, I don't know. Because I'm not an option trader for that reason. Maybe I'm too stupid, I don't know. That's you know, but still it's like, okay, once you decide, okay, I want to trade options, then it's exactly what you mentioned, is that you feel like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed by all the different ones, you know, like, which is the expiration date and where you know, where's the basis and all the other stuff, which is very important for you to know, because when it comes to trade options, it's very easy to pick the wrong one, right? So that's basically one of the obstacles for people trading options. That's why a lot of people feel like, yes, this is more a product for professionals. And then they stick for, let's say, CFDs or stocks or, you know, or futures, which is more easy because there's just one Apple stock. That's it, basically, right? Or there's just one Apple CFD, or there's just one future for the S&P. Okay, you can go mini or micro, but still it's the future, only one. There's no choice. But when it comes to options, there's a lot of stuff to find and to scan, to go through. And of course, there are a lot of sources for mistakes.
To avoid this pitfalls, this is why I did the scanner. So I have like default settings and brought it down to the KISS formula. Keep it simple, stupid. So it's really easy. You have default values, and when you use those, you will make money. That's so simple. And you just don't have to watch a lot, and it's really easy to do.
Let's talk about your very beginning. So how was it? As I know, you haven't been always a trader like most of us, actually. So you had something like usually people call like a normal job, right? You were just in management, but then you just went over to be a trader. How was your journey?
So I actually started after school. I did an internship at Siemens, became a chemical craft worker, it's called. Then I worked for some time, went to the Navy for a little bit. Then I also did my chemical engineer for 2 years full time. And then I figured out, now you know, we always had this question, based on carbohydrate, build this kind of molecule, and you got like such a long name, and you had to go through through everything. And then at the job, someone said, "Okay, I don't care what it's called. How much savings did you bring?" And then, okay, so I need to learn a little bit more in economics and project management, and to really know that. And so I did a master professional in technical management. Then I did my diploma in management studies, and I also did my master of business administration, so my MBA in Liverpool on international management.
Right.
So, quite a lot.
So you're basically a manager, right?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely. And I also feel like, okay, I'm the CEO of a company, even if it's a small one, but this is what the whole mindset is about.
Sure. What you are, basically. I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah. And I worked many years in automotive industry, plastics industry, and became up to like a global head of R&D. So I'm really focused on how to bring things further.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and how does it come that you became a trader?
This was a funny question because a friend of mine who was in sales in one of those companies, he said, "Oh, I was at one of these courses, and they said, oh, here you can do option trading, and they make so much money." And wait a minute, how does it work? And okay, this guy can do it, and I thought, I'm not that stupid, so I could learn it myself. And what happened? I also went to this kind of course, and I made every pitfall possible. So every mistake what you could do, I did in the beginning, and I just started off with. Like I'm a process guy, so I made my checklists and went through the checklists, and always had those problems, and went through, and then the checklist became bigger and bigger, and then I said, okay, I need to automate things. And this is how I learned like programming, and used it first in the Agena trader, which I still use. And then I built the trade scanner to really make it easy for me personally to trade. And also because I don't have the capital to move the markets, it's also good for others to use the same technology. And it's really a pleasure seeing others talk about it and say, oh, I made so much money this month just based on the trade scanner. This is really a delight in my heart.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. That's why we do things. That's why I do a podcast, because it's fun. It's great fun. And also people learn from it, hopefully, right? And they get different thoughts and develop themselves even more, a little bit more as a trader. And what I also like is that, I mean, usually we're pretty alike in this way. We develop things first of all for ourselves to make things easier. This is why I was thinking about, okay, my expander strategy, how can I have it as an automatic process? Because, going with the Bollinger Bands means that you always have to adjust your target. And this is obviously built or done better by a machine, by the computer, by software, right? So that's basically what I developed for myself. And when you say, okay, I developed the trade scanner, first of all, just for myself to make my life easier. And then you realize, okay, I can make it a business as well. Fair enough. Because you put so much effort and work in it and brain cells and everything, and you invest a lot of time. So it's, of course, if it works, it's a good idea to share it with the public, for sure. And then you can implement a lot of other strategies like mine, honestly speaking, because that's also what's implemented, the expanded strategy, and 2 more that are about to come, and some more strategies from other traders from Germany, which are also very, very successful with the strategies, right? And what I also really like is that you have the world's markets. We were talking about, okay, let's put Indonesia in it, and you did it, right?
Yeah, it was implemented actually before we talked. So so for the option market, okay, it's just the US, but for the stocks, we really have the whole world at the fingertip, and the speed which is incredible. So and we not only have like the signal itself, we also can search by sector, or do a worldwide sector search. For instance, basic materials is not just in the US or in Canada interesting, but where could it be else? And we just have to say, okay, select country off, and then you have it compared to the whole world, which is just crazy. No one has this. And this in a few seconds, or in a 1 second. And also we do lots of fundamental analysis in it. So you get really good overview if the company you're investing in is good or not. If you're just in a few days, it mainly doesn't matter, but sometimes it matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's talk about your approach. You were basically talking about some kind of sector model. How is that?
Yeah. So what I built was, or what I figured out, you have very often when you trade just one strategy, there are times where it's good running and sometimes where it's not so good running. And like when the whole market broke down, obviously it is hard if you have a long only strategy. That's pretty obvious. And what surprised me a little bit, but I still learn on it and did it, was like when you also look on the sectors, many or sometimes some sectors go much better than the others. And so it just makes sense if you go into outperformance sectors, so some which perform better, to go on long strategies. On the other hand, of course, if those go down, you better go on short strategies, and you will have a much higher hit rate on it. And this makes total sense. So you go from the world ETF down to a certain market or country, and then you go to the sectors, and you see directly what strategies work for which sector. So this makes it really easy. I go through it in a couple of seconds and I know, okay, this sector makes sense. Click and I'm in the strategy and have my trade. So the whole trade picking process is done within a minute.
Nice. Yeah. And when I choose a sector, I can also choose the strategy regarding to the sector, or does when I go to the trade scanner, I can also see, okay, this is a sector which is quite good right now, and these are the strategies you can use for it. How does it work?
Yeah, there are recommendations based on we have like an outperformance scale. And also it's called a signal lamp, and both together bring you into a certain quadrant or rectangle, and those are defined where the strategies perform best. So cash secured puts have a different sector or rectangle as bear calls. So it's very, very easy to see, the balls or these points are there, and I just click on it, and all the brain stuff was done already by the computer, and you just have to say, okay, I choose this sector and this strategy, and that's it. So you don't really have to choose the strategies. There's just a small list of a few strategies which could work on this. So it makes it really easy.
Yeah. I mean, making things easy is one of the main parts when it comes to trading, for several reasons. First of all, of course, you spare a lot of work. That's one point. I mean, fair enough to say that people want to avoid work. I want to do this. All of us want to avoid work as much as possible. But also, as I reduce complexity as well by doing this, reduce workload and complexity, I make things easier for myself, right? So this means that when I think about opening a trade and have all these overwhelming masses of choices, proper scanning helps me with, making the right decision. First of all, choosing the right direction, choosing the right sector, the right stock or company or index or whatever, and then choosing the right strategy. Now, what's left is choosing the right management. So how comes management into place right here? Because having an entry, okay, it's nice, but usually people leave it like this, and then they wonder why their trade isn't profitable at all, even though the strategy works quite well. But usually it's the lack of management, of proper management, that makes a winning trader or winning trade a losing one. So how can a trade scanner solve this, or how do you solve this problem?
So, of course, I have my trading journal where I always look and do like the portfolio analysis. So how many stocks do I have in my account? How many options? How many different strategies do I have? So that I'm not just all in with one trade. So I do quite a lot of diversification, and I come quite good with this. And as you know, I'm also an author of some how's it called in English, where I do give recommendations and stuff. And
that's right.
And I have a very, very high hit rate, and I go from the starting until the end of a trade and manage it all the time. So this is really important that you know in the beginning, where do I exit, where do I do stuff, and where do I take my profits. And this is what we also implemented. So you have very strict stop loss management. You have very good targeting and realistic targets. This is also very important. So some guys say, okay, it can go up to the roof, but it doesn't. So it's better to have smaller targets and do it all the time.
Now you're talking, because this is something a lot of people discuss. Do I have to go like for a high profit target? Because if you read a book, it's always written, okay, aim for the high target, let the winners run. But I feel the same, like, that's bullshit. Of course you can let the winners run and take care of the losers, what you have to do. But somewhere there's a ceiling, somewhere there's the end of a move. But the question is, where is the end? How do you handle this? Do you go for a certain risk-reward ratio, or do you just go for, let's say, next resistance or support area? So what is your suggestion here?
This is sometimes a difficult question, how to get out of a trade, definitely, yeah.
And a lot of people struggle with this, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And just recently, I made a mistake in programming an indicator, and this figured out to be a really good exit helper. So
this is what happens, right?
Yeah. And so I go a little bit after the cycles, what stocks do. Mm-hmm. So you find it really often that they go like up, down, up, down, up, down. And this is a certain period what they do. And so if the stock goes up like for some time and then it goes like this, I go out easily and just take my profit and I'm done. I don't care if it could run further or whatever. It doesn't matter for me. I just go out. So I have very strict exiting, and with option, it's really, really simple sometimes, because you just, when you set up a trade, like where I get out, I set it right after I went into the trade, because I know it now. I just say, look, okay, if I get $1 per trade, so $1 times 100, it's $100. And when the option is only worth $40 anymore, I'm out. So I'm happy with it. And it could run further. I don't care at all. I just have so many signals. I couldn't care less.
It's true. It's totally true, Marcus, because that's why I asked this question, because again, a lot of people struggle with this decision, exiting the trade, taking the profit, because after that, they regret it immediately. Oh, if I would stay into the trade, I would get $1 more, 10 cents, 2 pips, 3 points, whatever. But the nature of markets is that they go up and then they go down. And if they go down, then they go up, like it's impulse moves. They have the correction moves. There's the impulsive move and so on and so on. It's like for eternity. So if you're into a trade and you feel like, momentum is slowing down, the bulls are not, or the bears anyway, are not so strong anymore. Something is changing, and you're watching this also. And why not exiting and just taking the profit wait for the next signal, wait for the next idea, wait for the next setup, and take another trade. I never understand why people don't do this. People go, yes, they open a trade, they are in profit, and then they watch how everything goes down back to zero. And to make it even worse, they get stopped out after they were in profit. I never get this. Do you have an idea why this happens? I mean, we're talking about psychology right now.
It is psychology, yeah. But it all comes down to security. How secure are you in your strategy? And if you don't declare your target in the beginning, how you will exit. Like you said, you go with your Bollinger Bands and take the target as it comes there.
Yeah.
But this is also a fixed rule. And like using a scanner is also a fixed rule set. So you don't do any process errors in getting to the trade. But many people don't have this. So they're in their mind very much like going crazy. Like when, as I said, I have so many options to do. Shall I go in? Shall I go out? Do I have the right decision made with this stock? Should I have taken another one? So there are so many question marks in their heads. That's why they're not certain and to stay in or go out at a certain level, because they didn't write down their rule set very much and perfected their rule set. If you have so many people who jump from one strategy after another, without really getting master craftsmanship in just a single one.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in general, when it comes to strategies, they all have their ups and downs. There's not the perfect strategy. There's a strategy which is a little bit more robust, and there are strategies which are a little bit more built for failure, but not at all. So you always have to watch a strategy, and it's best to have some in your box, just to choose one for certain situations and just change the strategy. But of course, you need to know what the strategy is about.
Absolutely. And what we did in the trade scanner, so we do, there are so many strategies out in the market, but what do we have? We only have a few strategies.
Yeah.
And those are tested over the times, and all the traders who develop the strategies are inside, so they trade with this.
Yeah.
And so this is a much better quality level than just, okay, I read on YouTube this strategy could work. That's just BS. Here we have real people giving real advice and say, when I do it this way, I have this performance. And you will have the same performance if you do quite the same, and not, okay, I need to have this indicator too, because then I'm much better than the pro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's also some misconceptions that people think they have to make things so complicated, put another indicator in the chart and another one, an oscillator and another, sophisticated tool or whatever. And then they feel like, where's the price anyway? So they don't see anything. So a problem strategy, which is easy to understand, which is pretty simple to apply, which is not complicated to find on a chart. When I developed a strategy for myself, and this is what you need to do, you need to develop your own strategy, or you need at least adopt a strategy that you read or found somewhere to your own needs. So when I did this, the basic indications of the basic conception I had in mind was, okay, this strategy has to be easy to apply wherever I am. I had always thoughts in mind, like I'm traveling, I'm going to a total different computer, open a website, and have with a quick glance on a chart the information I need. This means I don't want to have all the settings and what is the software about? Do I have the special indicator here? No, everyone has Bollinger Bands. Every software has it, for me. So for me, that was the easiest approach, to just apply just one simple strategy or indicator done, and everything else is just on the chart. And the chart is always the same, right? Wherever you go, what software you use, what computer you use, what kind of internet speed you have, it's always the same chart. And this is what people really need to realize, that again, this KISS, keep it simple and stupid, is a basic rule when it comes to trading, from my point of view, and you agree, as I have heard already.
Absolutely. The only thing what I use, what you normally don't have in a chart, is like the options open interest. Those levels I really love, and they give also an edge. So this is some hidden information. You could search it yourself, but it's really, really the pain in the ass. If you would say, you have to go through every strike price, and I like to accumulate the next 60 days and go through every strike price. And you see support and resistance areas, what you don't see typically. And this gives a little bit more. But the rest, of course, I developed my turning point, and I don't need to switch it on to see it. I know where it is. Also, because we watched so many charts over the years, of course, so many thousands of charts.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very important, interesting point. Because when it comes to masters, to become a master and to be a master, there's a saying, it needs 10,000 hours, right? Yeah. So 10,000 hours watching charts, making conclusions, doing trades gives you exactly this, the confidence that when you see a chart, you see what happens, and you know exactly what is the best probability for the next move, going up, going down, going sideways. I see this, give me a chart, I can tell you what is going to happen most likely. Of course, not a guarantee, but most likely. And this is what you learn over the time and over the years. And this is also our edge as seasoned traders, right?
Sure. And now you could also argue, okay, if I buy the trade scanner and I don't have the 10,000 hour time, how can I be profitable? And one thing, what people really have as a problem, perhaps, is that with not so high likelihoods of being right, you could make money. But people, when they come from industry or management background, they are right very often in their decisions, what they do. And they got just frustrated because they did the whole process, tick, 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 tick. And then you have loser, and they just go mad and frustrated. And so for starters, then the option strategies, even they look a little bit more complicated at the first glance, they are much better for the psyche, because you have much, much higher win rates than others. So even some guy tested my trade scanner in the worst time last year in 2022, between August and September, when everything went down, and they tested like stupid, like a drilled dog. Nothing more, just okay, signal buy. And 260 trades in a row and 85% hit rate in this.
That's crazy.
That's just crazy. Yeah,
that's really crazy. But I mean, we have to be honest with this. A hit rate, and now we're talking again about profit target and management. A hit rate is always depending on your profit target. So because if you don't take your profits, you will never have a hit. I mean, it's easy.
And I did in the same time 98%. So So this is, but this, he also said, okay, it was like a stupid dog doing this. But if you apply a few rules, you're much better. And of course, the profitability comes as a result. And this is so nice to start with, that you at least start with something, and then you say, okay, now I'm really confident in it, and I can go to other levels, like doing the expander, doing some other strategies. It just makes sense to do that.
Yeah, I mean, in general, and this is also something where you feel, okay, this one did around 80 or 89, and you were like 98, right? So it's also a matter of individual management of the trade. I mean, it's something, the turtles, they proved it. Like, you give one strategy to a bunch of traders and you have, you get all the results you can imagine. Going broke, getting rich, with one strategy, same market. Why? Management, right? So it's what it is. You get good trading scans, so you get good setups, and then it's on you. Nothing else. It's just on you. So you get, okay, these are the stocks which are moving the right way, whatever strategy you're following. But then you have to follow some certain management rules. How to use a stop. Use a stop. Do you use a stop at all? I mean, that's one basic question. With options, it's not that easy anyway, right? If you go with CFDs, future stocks, different story. If you go long-term, you don't need to talk about stops that much as if you go like intraday, right? Or with a lever. So how do you apply stops with options?
With options, I think it's a little bit difficult to apply, because I know there are rules like at 200% you go out, and I don't do that. I don't have stops in place, but I know what a Fibonacci retracement is, and I apply this. So I really know, okay, how much could the stock go down? You could... You're never right. It could go down 50%. It always can happen. But I always watch the trends. So I don't do a long position when I don't see an upward trend.
Yeah.
And I know where I have to go out of the trend anyway. And you have all the time you need normally when you do option trading, because it's not intraday, it's end of day.
Yeah.
So you can say, okay, if the stock does this or just breaks down, I know, okay, it will go back like to the 38% mark somehow. And this will be some sort of exit. And this makes my hit rate much, much higher than just going out all the time.
Right. I mean, what comes into mind here is that usually when it comes to options, people talk about, okay, I just roll it, like, okay, it expires, but hey, then I take another one and just roll my loss as well in order to sit and wait until price moves back into my favorite direction. I go back, at least break even or going for profit. So this is what basically people are talking about when it comes to stock and to option trading. I mean, you can do this, of course, but it's quite risky as well from my point of view. And I'm coming from a different approach. I'm trading futures and CFDs with a high lever, basically. That's by definition what it is. So if you're trading intraday with a lever, you better have a stop loss, otherwise you get broke easily. So how to put this approaches together, and how to make a decision when to exit. And what I heard from you is that I have the idea that you look at the charts like, okay, this is a Fibonacci retracement. This is where the trend ends. So when you see some certain signal on a chart, you exit your option trade.
Yeah, absolutely. When I see, okay, my upward trend is not active anymore, I'm out. It doesn't matter how the option is priced. I'm out.
Yeah. Okay.
And as long as the trend is okay, and I see, okay, there's a potential to the 38%, I go out. And sometimes it just goes up a little bit and then breaks down. But then I still say, okay, I take the bottom as my stop loss. And I'm out. So I always have very strict rules of when getting out.
Yeah. But isn't it... And I'm not sure, again, I'm not an option trader, but isn't it the high risk of trading options that you can lose till eternity?
No, you can't. I sell options. So what I really so it's called cash secured puts. So if I buy or sell when I sell options like for a strike at $70, I need to have at least $7,000 in the account for this trade. And I always have to look at this, that I'm not having my lever too high.
Yeah.
So I manage this with the position size and so on. So this is not that big problem. So I can't lose all the money now.
Okay.
Because the worst thing what could happen is that it breaks down the option and I get the stock, but then I can sell the stock. And there I have to have certain rules, as I said, when to exit. So I don't want to have a stock which I bought at 70, watch go down to $5. I don't do that.
Yeah. So, and then we're talking again about charting certain levels. I mean, if it's Fibonacci or basically just support and resistance zones made by, well, you know, like swing highs or swing lows or whatever, you know, so you use basically this. And then you take also over the risk that it might be a bit higher or a bit lower when it comes to a loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so because a basic rule when it comes to CFDs, forex, stocks, futures, whatever, is that you say, okay, I have 1% of my account as a risk. When it comes to option, it doesn't sound like it's possible that way. At least
no, it is not. It is not at all.
Yeah.
Because you also have very often a very bad risk-reward ratio.
Right.
So you need like 80% to be right. So on the 20% you gain, but you do have to do it on the long run. So it's really difficult. And just to say, like 1%, no, it's a little bit different what you really risk. And typically you can have a very high safety buffer inside. Like 15% from the actual stock price could be the buffer. So it needs to go down and down and down and down until you lose money, because you get also a premium on it. So this gives you more buffer, and then it has to crash. And I always sell my options like when they are in a correction. So they already went down quite a bit. And then they need to go down even further, and then
Okay, so you're not going long in an uptrend, so you're just going long in a correction in the uptrend.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so which is basically a classical strategy. So let's talk about your turning point strategy. So when we talk about, okay, you just enter your position when the stock drops, and then you go long with a cash secured put. So how does your turning point strategy comes into place? How does it look like? Is it candlestick or some levels, or what is it about?
It's a little bit more complicated than this.
Here we go.
So first of all, I had this hypothesis where I said, is it possible to have a turning point coming, or you see a turning point in a chart before it actually occurs? And this is
everybody would love that, right? Everybody would love that.
Yeah, and I figured out how to do it. But to give you a little bit more safety, I waited a little bit more. So I'm really, really, really close to the bottom normally. Perhaps one candle behind you or something like this. But very close to this, so I have a little bit more safety that if it goes up, it really goes up. So in an uptrend. So this is what I like, and I also look at the retracement levels, but this is all calculated itself, so I don't really have to go through the math every time, because it's just there. Just gives me a little arrow, and I know, okay, I take it, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so I solved this problem with candlesticks and Bollinger Bands, basically. Of course, yes, I love to see some support and resistance zones as well, but it's not that important for me. More important is like the right candlestick signal at the right, position with the Bollinger Bands. So that's what you mean. Okay, you like to have a little bit more security, that you enter a little bit later that I would go into the market.
I'm very close to it as well, but I'm probably not in the most downward candle in the correction. Perhaps one candle after that, typically. Yeah. So, but this also gives me quite a good risk-reward ratio. So
still, of course,
So I don't care so much about how the candle looks like. It's just the signal that it's very close there and works really, really tremendously good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's talk a bit about the mental game of trading. So how does option trading helps compared to stock or futures trading on the mental side, and also how to solve this with a proper scanning process? Does it help at all? What do you feel about it?
So there are pros and cons in it, what you just said. So the con definitely normally is, okay, I have to do much more homework and there are much more option chains and more possibilities. This con I solved with the trade scanner because this is done automatically. The pro is really on the side that you have much higher hit rates. And this is really good for a person yourself. Oh, I made my Apple trade and it worked out as I thought. Yeah. Okay, the machine, but anyway, you can go to your spouse and say, yeah, I'm a good trader now. And it worked really, really
well. Yes, you are. Because it did the management process well.
Absolutely, yeah.
At least, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this helps really for starters, I would say, to get the right mental security that they have in trading, because trading, okay, we do it for many, many years now, and we know the edges and how difficult it could be. And if you don't go really right in the right way and do the management right, you will lose money. So many people lose money on it. Yeah, and only with a proper management and proper entry and exit strategy, it's good. But if you have at least one strategy which works for you, it's such a game changer in your mindset, because then you know, okay, I can apply this knowledge, what I learned, how to manage stuff, to other strategies as well.
Yeah. Which brings us a little bit also to risk management, because this is also part of management. And we were talking about stop loss, but what's really important is also something like position sizing, like, okay, how much can I get for my money and the risk I want to take over, which is not that easy to develop with options, but with stocks, CFTs, futures, like all these ones, it's easy to figure out, and you need to figure out. I think Trade Scanner also offers a solution, and you're working on it right now.
Yeah, I'm absolutely working on it, so that we have like an integrated trading journal, which also gives you like a risk management tool on your hand. So probably we both will develop it a little bit, even in the future, like that you get as a customer really good knowledge and charts which guide you. Yeah. So you don't go in the lever too much. You get like the position size right, that you can build up your own portfolio strategy, so that it says, okay, here you have like 20% account space left. Do this kind of strategy. It could help right at this time. And then, of course, you get really high class entries.
Yeah. So with proper management, with proper position size, with not really with options, But with other products, you also get the stop loss level, and then it's up to you, to the trader, to enter, and of course also to exit the trade.
Yeah, the rest is really discipline then. Yeah. And we will implement something which helps you to develop the discipline, like having a nice calendar where it says, okay, please set up your stop loss, or gives you some to-dos, and so that you are guided. If you develop like the 10,000 hours, you don't need it anymore that much, but until you're there, we try to help you as a newcomer or advanced trader to even get into the masterclass level.
True. I mean, you will always get your 10,000 hours, but the difference is, do you pay to go there, or do you get paid for the 10,000 hours? And having proper tools, and having all the support you can get as a trader, and especially nowadays. I mean, we're talking about AI, we're talking about algorithms, everything is possible. And it's most likely easier to get paid for your 10,000 hours than back in the days when we started, like almost 20 years ago, so it's different. I'm a little bit jealous now, honestly speaking,
Yeah, there's so much more possibilities now than before, but we had challenges in our days also.
Yeah, true. Marcus, we're coming to an end. So what I would like to ask you now is, as a last question, what is your suggestion for people who want to start trading, maybe especially with options? Is this the right choice, or should they start with a different product? What do you think, and what will be the first steps?
So I would say like the stock scanner basic or the option scanner basic would be a really good choice to start with. It's just you sell options, and you only have 3 strategies in place. You only have like the cash secured put, the bear call, and the strangle. So it's one strategy for up markets, one strategy for down markets, and one where it just goes sideways. And you always can make money on it. So this really helps. It's really simple. You only have to look in the market model, which is included, of course. And this sector is there. I just do this. That's very simple, very easy to apply in the first place. And of course, if you have much more questions, we are there in the support team and so on. We do videos and everything in the blog, so it's really easy to start with. So if you have questions, just go ahead and ask us, and we do even more videos, so it's easier.
Perfect. Marcus, thank you so much for all your insights, and for all, also all the effort you put into your product, into the trade scanner. And I know there are a lot of things more to come. We were already discussing this in private, but I'm totally excited about this product. And I also suggest everyone just to check it out, to see what it's about, if it makes your life as a trader easier or even also less complicated. It's always a choice what we do. So it's always also about to see what people offer and if it helps really. So thanks again for everything.
You're more than welcome.
That's already it. And I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and you took away some learnings for your personal trading. If you want to learn more about me, about my interview partners, if you want to have a one-on-one coaching or even get into a training course with me or my interview partners, just get into the show notes and follow one of all these links you find there. And then I will be happy to hear and see you again. Your Wieland Arlt.